Hello everyone, Bionic here, and welcome to a brand new Bionic bootleg review. As you can see, this is a knockoff Star Wars First Order Stormtrooper figure, and it's very bizarre. Let's get into the new pieces and you'll understand what I mean. So here's all the new pieces in this set. And there are some very interesting things here. First off, let's get into some of the strange comparisons. Now here's the pair of white Star Wars Shins this set comes with, and obviously they look a little odd. Well, that's because this is an official Star Wars Shin, and it is drastically different. Comparing the two side by side, if I can get it to focus, this is just so much tinier, and it's actually really interesting and pretty freaking cool, honestly. This obviously fits much nicer on the smallest size of bone with a ball joint in the middle than, say, this would, because that just overshadows the bone entirely. This is pretty much designed to fit on that size of bone perfectly, and that's pretty freaking cool, especially if you like using these as forearm armor, like on Camilleo's classic design, or Roach has them, and characters like that, you know. This would work even better, which is super cool. That's freaking, it's such a useful piece. I love that. So, and the quality, I mean, it's a knockoff, so it'll probably crack after repeated use, but honestly, right now, it attaches pretty much, it feels like it's made out of the same stuff, so I can't say that it is for sure made out of ABS plastic, but it feels like it is comparable in quality. Can't be said about everything in this set, though. Next up is the Star Wars shoulder pads, and here's the official version. As you can tell, they are quite drastically different. Get this focus again. They're not even really, it's not even really a case of just taking the same design and shrinking it down. It's very, very different. Especially the way it attaches. If you take an armor shell and attach the normal version, the official version, it looks pretty freaking normal, you know? It looks like a shoulder pad, or, you know, whatever you want it to be. You know, obviously we're accustomed to this. We've had it for years. This, on the other hand, attach it to an armor pad, and it sticks way out, and doesn't really do a whole great job of covering anything if you want to use that as shoulder armor, so not really sure how to feel about that. But I'm sure this does and will have plenty of useful ways of going about using it. It's just not going to be all the same ways that the normal shoulder pieces have. You know, it's a little different. And obviously it's a knockoff piece. This one doesn't feel quite as well made as the Shin pieces. It feels slightly cheaper compared to the, if I can get it back off the shell real quick. Jeez. This one does not feel quite as well made as the official Lego one. This one feels much flimsier and much cheaper. Doesn't quite feel like it's made out of the same plastic, whereas the Shins did. So, on to the next one. Now we have the nightmare of a Stormtrooper helmet, which is just, oh, so hideous. I thought the official helmet was ugly, but honestly, it looks like a masterpiece compared to this. This is just, oh gosh, so horrifying. on so many levels. I absolutely hate it so much. And the paint is just horrible, and it's... Look at this. It just scratches away. Ugh, gosh. Yeah, I'm going to wash my hands after I use this, because I don't know if this paint is safe. So, yeah. I would not recommend buying this for the helmet if you want to get it. That is for sure. If it'll focus again. There we go. Also, it's not the same helmet connection, head connection. It actually fits on Hero Factory heads, and this isn't a recolor or a new piece or anything. I think the mold is different. I feel like it's very shallow compared to the official version, but it's an official headpiece, and yeah, it's very hard to get it out of there when you put the helmet on. But yeah, so that's that nightmare. On to the next. Next up on our list is this thing. This is a tiny little version of the Star Wars torso armor. Obviously, you can tell this is barely anything. I don't even need to have the fully sized version, because that is just huge compared to this. And it's an armor add-on. So it has two little pegs to plug onto a chest plate, which makes no sense whatsoever. And the sculpting is weird. They made a little crotch bulge, is the best way I could describe it, and gave it some little tube ribbing type of deals and stretched out these parts, and it's so bizarre. So bizarre. I don't understand. And the last new piece is actually a cool recolor. At least as far as I know, this piece doesn't exist in this color. But it's got a bunch of paint on it, which is really annoying. But other than that, it's pretty cool. I'm glad to have it, but still feel kind of gross about it, you know. I feel like I maybe shouldn't be touching these without giving them a soak in some hot water or something. Some hot soapy water. They're getting a serious wash, that's for sure. And then there's these things, which are really ugly, stupid looking plastic guns that came on these sprue kits, and they were split in half and you have to put them together. And this one's painted silver. I don't know. They're just not good. And last but not least, I didn't remember to show this one in the collection, but there's a different handpiece, which is designed differently, and it only comes with two of this. But this is like supposed to be a right hand. You know, this looks like it would supposed to be a right hand specifically, whereas this is generic and it can be either side. But when you flip this one over, because you've got the raised fingers, you flip it over for the left hand, and then you've got the raised fingers in a different orientation, and that's just, it looks like he's got two right hands. That's not good. That is really not good. So, I don't know what they were thinking with this design choice, but it's just not good. Way worse compared to the official, which, I mean, is to be expected, but just not a good choice, and very, very ugly. Also, the axle hole goes straight through, so you could just stick a rod all the way through there. So there's that, I guess. Maybe that's a little useful, but it's just a gross-looking fist piece. So now, finally, onto the actual figure himself. It's pretty basic. There's nothing really to the build at all. So let's run over articulation real quick. It's super basic. You could build a figure exactly like this, minus the few unique pieces. So foot articulation, it's really tight, and you can see that the plastic on this foot piece is getting stressed. I don't even know what from. It just is by its own sheer existence. It's being stressed, I guess. So yeah, foot articulation. Knee articulation, that goes pretty far, so that's good. Hip articulation, you know, it's a Bionicle, whatever. Arms can go out that far. Again, this is what I was talking about. Not very practical shoulder pads. It looks a little silly. Kind of need to just have it all the way up here for it to look any semblance of natural. Arms bend about 90 degrees, I suppose. Hands can rotate, and then the head can look that far up, that far down, spin all the way around. It's very weird. Because of the way they designed it, the neck peg would be in the center of the helmet on the official version, but it's pretty much in the back on this version. So his head sticks really far forward, and he sticks his head up really far, and it's just not good. If you like turn his head around, ugh, it's just gross. It's really gross. And then look at this. This is atrocious. This is terrible. There's so much paint and just like dirt and gunk and nastiness everywhere. It's just awful. So terrible. This thing is not, oh man. It might be worth buying just for these pieces, but the rest of it, throw it away, man. It's just awful. Shoulder pads and the shins, maybe the white chest plate, but other than that, just get rid of it. Ah, man, I do not even feel good touching this stuff. I'm not even joking. This is just awful. And then he can hold his ugly, dumb guns and go, pew pew all across the galaxy. In conclusion, I don't like this guy. I like the 5 cool pieces that he has, but other than that, most of this is going to go in the trash. I don't even want to touch this stuff anymore. I'm just, no. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Don't buy it unless you want those 5 pieces. So, in fact, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take off the things that I think are gonna be useful. So those shins, those shoulder pads. That one's really tight. Jesus, calm off. Good Lord. And that portion, and maybe the helmet could be useful. And the rest of this I'm gonna throw away. So that works. That's my rating.